Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Stoic Compass. I'm Jim Walker, and today we're asking the question nobody wants to answer. What do you want to suffer for?
I'm Eleanor Vance, and I'm predicting Jim has been avoiding this question his entire life.
Accurate?
At least you're honest.
Before we dive in, hit like and subscribe. Unless you're not willing to endure the struggle of clicking a button, in which case this episode is definitely for you.
The struggle of clicking, setting the bar low today.
So I read this article by Mark Manson, and Ellie, it completely reframed how I think about goals and success.
What's his main argument?
Everyone asks what you want out of life. Happy family, good job, money, whatever. But that's meaningless because everyone wants those things.
So what's the better question?
What pain do you want in your life? What are you willing to struggle for? Because that's what actually determines how your life turns out.
Now that's a Stoic question if I've ever heard one.
Right? Everyone wants financial independence, but not everyone wants 60-hour work weeks and corporate hierarchies and cubicle hell.
They want the reward without the sacrifice.
Exactly. Everyone wants great relationships, but not everyone wants the tough conversations, awkward silences, hurt feelings, emotional drama.
This is what the Stoics meant by understanding the full price of things. Epictetus said everything has a cost. The question is whether you're willing to pay it.
Manson says most people view pain as objectively negative, something to avoid at all costs, but reality is more nuanced.
The Stoics would say pain isn't good or bad in itself. It's indifferent. What matters is how you relate to
He
it.
makes this brutal observation. People settle and wonder, what if, for years until it morphs into, was that it?
Because they lowered their standards to avoid discomfort.
Then he drops this line. Happiness requires struggle. The positive is the side effect of handling the negative.
That's pure Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
So you can't avoid negative experiences forever?
They come roaring back eventually. The question isn't whether you'll face difficulty, but which difficulties you choose.
Manson argues what we get out of life isn't determined by the good feelings we desire, but by what bad feelings we're willing to sustain to get those good feelings.
That's the key insight. Everyone focuses on outcomes, but outcomes are determined by process tolerance.
He gives examples. People want an amazing physique, but you don't get one unless you legitimately appreciate the pain of living in a gym for hours.
Appreciate, not just tolerate. That's important.
Right. Unless you love calculating food, planning meals in tiny portions. People want to start businesses, but you have to appreciate risk, uncertainty, repeated failures, insane hours with no guarantee of success.
And
You
relationships?
have to appreciate the emotional turbulence of rejection, unresolved tension, phones that don't ring. He says it's part of the game. You can't win if you don't play.
So the question isn't what do you want to enjoy, but what pain do you want to sustain? The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your negative experiences.
To get good at dealing with negative experiences is to get good at dealing with life.
That could be a Stoic maxim. Actually, it basically is. Seneca wrote that difficulties strengthen the mind like labor strengthens the body.
But there's so much advice that says you just have to want it enough.
And Manson says that's useless?
Yes, everybody wants something enough. They just aren't aware of what it is they actually want. If you want the benefits, you have to also want the costs.
Give me an example.
If you want the beach body, you have to want the sweat, soreness, early mornings, hunger pangs. If you want the yacht, you have to want the late nights, risky moves, possibility of failure.
But most people want the outcome without wanting the process.
Here's the devastating part. If you want something month after month, year after year, but nothing happens and you never get closer, maybe what you actually want is a fantasy.
You enjoy wanting it, not doing it.
Maybe you don't actually want it at all. That hit me hard.
Why? What do you fantasize about but never pursue?
We're getting personal now?
That's literally the point of the article.
Fair. Okay, I've always said I want to learn guitar, but I've been saying that for 10 years without actually practicing consistently.
So what does that tell you?
That I don't actually want to learn guitar. I want to have learned guitar. I want the result without the daily struggle.
Manson tells a similar story in the article, doesn't he?
Yes. He fantasized about being a rock star for most of his adolescence and young adulthood. Imagined himself on stage with screaming crowds, absolutely losing their minds to his playing.
But what happened?
Despite fantasizing for over half his life, it never happened. He eventually realized why. He didn't actually want it.
He was in love with the result, not the process.
Exactly. He didn't like the daily practice, finding a group, rehearsing, finding gigs, getting people to show up, the broken strings, hauling gear without a car.
The mountain of the dream versus the climb itself.
He says he liked to imagine the top but didn't like climbing. And culture tells him he failed. He's a quitter. He wasn't courageous or determined enough.
But the truth is
He
simpler.
thought he wanted something, but it turns out he didn't. End of story. He wanted the reward, not the struggle. The victory, not the fight.
And life doesn't work that way. This is so aligned with Stoic philosophy, it's almost eerie.
How so?
The Stoics believed who you are is defined by what you choose to struggle for. Epictetus said some people are natural wrestlers, others natural runners. You have to find the struggle that fits your nature.
Manson says exactly this. Who you are is defined by the values you're willing to struggle for. People who enjoy gym struggles get in shape. People who enjoy corporate politics move up the ladder.
People who enjoy the starving artist uncertainty are the ones who live that life and make it.
But this isn't about willpower or grit, right?
No, that's what makes this profound. It's not another no pain, no gain speech. It's about alignment between your values and your chosen struggles.
He says our struggles determine our successes. So choose your struggles wisely.
That's the Stoic principle of living according to nature, your nature specifically. Marcus Aurelius wrote about finding the role that fits you.
So how do I figure out what struggles I'm actually willing to endure?
Manson suggests asking, how do you choose to suffer? What pain are you willing to sustain?
That's such a weird question, though. People must look at him like he's crazy.
He says people tilt their heads like he has 12 noses, but he asks because it tells him more about someone than their desires and fantasies.
Because you have to choose something. Life can't all be roses and unicorns.
Right. The Stoics called this amor fati, love of fate, but it's not passive acceptance. It's actively choosing which difficulties to embrace.
So let me try to apply this. I keep saying I want to write a book, but I haven't made real progress in years.
What does that tell you?
That I like the idea of having written a book, but I don't actually enjoy the daily struggle of writing.
Or you don't enjoy it enough compared to other things. What do you do every day without forcing yourself?
I read articles, have conversations about ideas, research things that interest me.
So maybe you're not meant to write books. Maybe you're meant to do something else with ideas, podcasts, teaching, conversations.
That's actually really clarifying. I've been beating myself up about not writing when maybe that's not my struggle.
The Stoics would say stop fighting your nature. Find the struggle that energizes you rather than depletes you.
But isn't there value in pushing through discomfort?
Absolutely. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort constantly, but there's a difference between productive discomfort and forcing yourself into a role that doesn't fit.
How do you tell the difference?
Productive discomfort feels hard but meaningful. You're tired but satisfied. Forced discomfort feels draining and hollow. You're exhausted and resentful.
So writing feels hollow for me, but these conversations feel meaningful even when they're challenging.
Then choose your struggle accordingly. The Stoics believed in self-knowledge above all. Know what you're suited for.
This reframes failure completely. Manson giving up music wasn't failure. It was honest self-assessment.
Exactly. The real failure would be spending your whole life climbing a mountain you don't actually want to climb just because you think you should.
Or because the view from the top sounds nice.
Right. Seneca wrote about people who pursue things that sound prestigious but make them miserable. That's not virtue, that's vanity.
So the most important question isn't what do I want, but what am I willing to suffer for?
And the answer reveals who you actually are, not who you think you should be. That's Stoic authenticity.
I'm genuinely going to think about this differently now. What struggles do I naturally gravitate toward?
That's the question that changes lives. Not, what do I want to achieve, but what do I want to endure?
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of struggle, choice, and honest self-assessment, everyone.
Until next time, choose your struggles wisely, pursue what you're willing to suffer for, and remember that your struggles define you more than your successes.
And maybe stop fantasizing about being a rock star if you hate carrying amps.
Or writing books if you hate writing.
Too real, Ellie. Too real.
This podcast is powered by VoxCrea.ai, where ideas find their voice.